Hey, you can't just knock that down. What are you doing? The words flew out of me before I even knew I'd slammed the car door. Three men in neon vests paused mid-swing, dust swirling around the half-dismantled wall of my beach house. One of them turned, confusion written all over his face. "We're under contract, ma'am. Expansion order. Approved by Mr. and Mrs. Langford." I froze. Mr. and Mrs. Langford. My parents. Hi everyone, my name is Clara Langford. I'm 27 years old, and until that morning, I thought betrayal came with warning signs. It doesn't. Sometimes it's wrapped in the sound of hammers against your home. The sea was calm behind me, glittering under the sun, but inside my chest, everything churned. This property wasn't theirs. It was mine, legally mine. My grandfather had left it to me in his will 3 years ago. I'd spent every summer here since I was a kid. I could still remember painting that very wall with him, his old radio playing Sinatra while gulls screamed overhead. Now strangers were tearing it apart. "I need to speak to your supervisor," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Sure, but it won't change much. The owner said it's for their son's new family. They want the old walls gone before the extension." Their son. My brother. I stared at the open blueprint on a work table, his name scrawled right there in bold ink. My parents hadn't called. They hadn't asked. They'd just started building over my life like it didn't matter. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I simply walked to my car, opened the glove compartment, and pulled out a folder labeled Property Deed, Clara L. Langford. "Let's see," I whispered, "whose name is really on those walls." The construction manager arrived 15 minutes later, clipboard in hand and annoyance written across his face. "Ma'am, unless you're with the Langford family, I'm afraid I can't." I held up the deed. "I am the Langford family, and this property belongs to me. Not my parents, not my brother, me." His expression shifted from irritation to shock. He read the document twice, then muttered an apology before signaling the workers to stop. The clang of tools and hammering died instantly, replaced by the sound of the waves, and my heart beat. I dialed my mother's number. She answered on the second ring, cheerful as ever. "Clara, did you see the progress? Isn't it exciting?" "Progress," I said quietly. "You mean the illegal demolition happening on my property?" A pause. Then her voice hardened. "Oh, sweetheart, don't be dramatic. It's all in the family. Your brother and Emily are expecting twins. We just thought." "You thought you could take my house?" "It's not about taking. It's about sharing. You barely use that place." I closed my eyes, gripping the phone tighter. "Because you made sure I was never invited anymore." She sighed, exasperated. "Don't start that again, Clara. You know your brother needs the space more. You're single, busy with baking, or whatever it is you do." The dismissiveness hit harder than the hammers had. "I'm ending construction today," I said. "And if anyone touches a single board, I'll involve the police." "Don't you dare, Clara," she snapped. "You'll regret embarrassing this family." "Funny," I whispered. I thought I was the embarrassment. I hung up before she could reply, staring at the quiet, half-ruined house. The line had been drawn, and for the first time, I wasn't afraid to cross it. I parked in front of my parents' mansion that evening, headlights flashing across the marble steps like a warning. My brother's SUV sat proudly out front, the new model Dad had gifted him for becoming a father. Funny how my pregnancy years ago hadn't earned me even a phone call. When the maid opened the door, her eyes widened at the folder in my hands. "They're in the dining room," she whispered. "Perfect." My mother looked up first, her smile stiffening when she saw me. "Clara, this isn't a good time. We're having dinner with." "I won't stay long," I interrupted, sliding the folder onto the table. "Just wanted to return something." My father frowned. "What is it?" "Proof," I said softly, "that this family no longer owns my beach house." I opened the folder, revealing the original property deed, notarized, sealed, incontestable. My father's fork froze midair. My brother tried to laugh. "Clara, come on. It's all in the family." "Then why was your name on the construction permit?" I asked, meeting his eyes. You plan to turn my house into a vacation home for your kids, without even asking me. Silence filled the room like smoke. I've stopped construction, I continued, and handed copies of these documents to my lawyer. My mother's expression faltered. You're a lawyer? Yes, I said. The one who's filing an injunction first thing tomorrow. By morning, word had spread faster than the tide. My brother called first, his voice dripping with irritation. Clara, did you seriously file legal action against our parents? Over a house. It's not a house, I said evenly. It's my property, and you are destroying it. He sighed dramatically. You're overreacting. Mom said you barely go there. That doesn't make it yours, I replied. If you wanted the ocean view, you could have bought your own. I hung up before he could respond. By noon, my lawyer, Mr. Hale, calm, meticulous, and unshakable, met me at the beach. We've filed the injunction, he said. No one can touch a single brick until the court reviews ownership. It felt surreal standing there again, watching the halted machines, the quiet waves licking the sand. My childhood memories had teeth now, broken walls and broken trust. A black car rolled up behind us. My parents stepped out, dressed as if this were a press conference. My mother's tone was smooth as glass. Clara, you're making a spectacle. Family matters shouldn't go public. Then you shouldn't have turned my property into a construction site, I said. My father glared at Mr. Hale. We'll settle this privately. Mr. Hale smiled. Privately or publicly, sir, the law doesn't change. For once, my parents looked small against the vast blue horizon. And for the first time, I wasn't the one retreating. The following week, the legal silence between us was deafening. My parents didn't call. My brother didn't text. But I knew something was brewing. They weren't the kind of people who accepted humiliation quietly. Mr. Hale had warned me. Expect pressure tactics. Emotional, maybe even financial. They'll try to make you look unreasonable.
He was right.
On Friday, I received a notice from my father's company, the one where I'd worked for 8 years as a financial analyst. My position was suspended for review. No reason. No hearing. Just retaliation wrapped in professionalism. I sat at my desk staring at the email until the letters blurred. Then I exhaled, calm and deliberate. If they wanted a war of dignity, I'd win by remaining composed. That evening, I went through old family documents, letters from my grandfather, receipts, and handwritten notes from when he was preparing his will. One caught my eye, a letter addressed to me in his neat cursive. Clara, I know how they see you. That's why this property is yours alone. Protect it and yourself. When the time comes, don't fight for love. Fight for respect. I sat back, heart pounding. My grandfather had seen this coming. The next morning, I forwarded a scanned copy of that letter to Mr. Hale with one line attached. Let's make them remember who this property really belonged to and why. The court hearing was set for Monday morning. I arrived early, dressed in a navy suit that felt like armor. My parents and brother sat across the aisle, a family portrait shattered into quiet hostility. Mr. Hale leaned over. Stay composed. The truth's already on your side. When the judge entered, the tension cracked like thunder. My father's attorney started with the usual performance, claiming miscommunication, shared ownership, family misunderstanding. Then Mr. Hale stood.
Calm.
Surgical. Your Honor, Exhibit A, the original will, notarized and signed by Mr. Edmund Langford. It specifies sole ownership of the beach property to his granddaughter, Clara Langford. No co-ownership clause exists. And Exhibit B, a recorded statement from the contractor confirming the order to demolish came from the plaintiff's parents, without her consent. My mother's face drained of color. My brother shifted, avoiding my eyes. The judge skimmed the papers, then looked directly at my father. Mr. Langford, this is a serious breach of property law. You and your associates had no legal right to authorize construction. The injunction stands permanently. The gavel hit the desk like a heartbeat I'd been waiting to hear my whole life. Outside, the sea wind carried salt and relief. My father brushed past without a word. My mother's perfume lingered in the hallway, Fading, like her control. Mr. Hale smiled slightly. That was the sound of boundaries, Miss Langford. A week after the court ruling, I returned to the beach house. The walls had been repaired, the floors refinished, the air filled with the scent of salt and new beginnings. For the first time in years, I felt peace, not silence, but peace. Then an idea struck me. The Langfords loved appearances. So what better revenge than giving them a stage? I mailed 3 invitations. One to my parents, one to my brother and his wife. Each card read the same. You're cordially invited to a private family dinner at the newly renovated Langford Beach House, hosted by the rightful owner. Saturday came. They arrived dressed like it was a press event. My mother looked around, eyes scanning the restored walls. You changed the layout, she said stiffly. I did, I replied. Had to rebuild after the damage your contractors caused. Dinner was quiet until my brother finally snapped. Clara, you didn't have to humiliate us in court. I smiled gently. You didn't have to tear down my house. My father set down his glass. What is this dinner really about? I leaned back, meeting each of their eyes. Closure. I reached into my bag and handed them a document, a property expansion proposal. This house will soon become a luxury boutique resort. Signed under my company's name. I thought you'd like to see how expansion is done legally. My mother's glass slipped, shattering on the marble. The following month, the project began, my project. Workers returned to the beach house, this time under my direction. The same men who once tore it down now built it up again, turning it into something magnificent. I named it Alicia. My grandfather's favorite word. It meant peace after struggle. When the grand opening came, I didn't send invitations. The world came on its own. Local investors, travel bloggers, even a few reporters, everyone wanted to see the new oceanfront jewel that had risen from a family scandal. Still, I noticed them arrive, my parents and brother, uninvited, standing awkwardly near the entrance. My mother's tone was soft this time. Clara, this is beautiful. It is, I said quietly. And it's exactly what Grandpa would have wanted, for me to build something that couldn't be taken away. My brother cleared his throat. You've done well. I smiled, not bitter, just calm. I always could. You just never looked long enough to see it. Guests gathered for the ribbon-cutting ceremony. As the cameras flashed, I took the scissors, looked at the house, my house, and asked myself softly, was it revenge or just finally being seen? The ribbon fell. Applause echoed across the shoreline. I didn't glance back at my family. I didn't need to, because for the first time in my life, they were the ones watching me.